Ballerina from the world of John Wick. Eve Macaro is the daughter of assassins Javier of the Rusca Roma and his cultist wife. As a child, Eve was taken away from the cult by Javier, which led to the death of her mother. To retrieve Eve, the cult and its chancellor raid her home. In the ensuing conflict, Javier dies as he helps her escape. New York Continental owner Winston Scott brings Eve to the Rusca Roma, where she meets their director and agrees to enlist. Over the next 12 years, Eve trains as a ballerina and an assassin-bodyguard under the director and Nogi, under the pseudonym Kikimora. At one point, she encounters John Wick, who was visiting the director to ask for safe passage to Casablanca. John unsuccessfully advises Eve to abandon her violent path. Eve graduates from the program after killing a fellow Rusca Roma assassin who is implied to have failed in her duties. Eve then successfully protects her first ward, an heiress. 2 months later, after completing a contract, Eve is attacked by an assassin whom she kills and identifies as a cultist. Seeking revenge, she asks the director about the cult, but is warned off from pursuing them due to a long-standing truce between the cult and the Rusca Roma. Eve disobeys the director and visits the New York Continental to meet Winston. Winston reveals that one cultist, Daniel Pine, is staying at the Prague Continental with a large bounty on him, so Eve travels there and books a room. When Eve infiltrates Pine's room, she discovers his daughter Ella, whom Pine is hiding from the cult, having escaped from them. This meeting is being watched by the cult, whose leader Lena increases the bounty on Pine's head, causing several assassins to descend upon Pine's hotel room. Pine entrusts Ella to Eve, promising to give her information on the cult later. As they exit the hotel, cultist Dex shoots Pine, while Lena incapacitates Eve and kidnaps Ella. The Continental staff execute 2 captured assassins for their attack, but spare Eve because she did not start the fight. While Eve is purchasing weapons from arms dealer Frank, the cult attacks his shop. After Eve kills the assailants, Frank helps her narrow down the location of the cult's base. Eve's search leads to the Austrian town of Hallstatt, where she quickly comes under attack by its inhabitants, all of whom are cultists. Eve is eventually captured and brought to the Chancellor, who discovers her Rusca Roma affiliation. Eve reveals her revenge plot, while he reveals that Pine is his son and Ella his granddaughter. The Chancellor remembers Eve, informing Lena that she is Eve's older sister. Eve breaks free before being cornered by Lena, who reveals their kinship. Lena says Javier abandoned her during his escape, as he feared that the cult had already indoctrinated her. Upon hearing of Eve and Lena talking, the Chancellor orders their deaths. Lena is killed, but Eve manages to escape. The Chancellor calls the director to declare war on the Rusca Roma due to Eve. The director counters that Eve had gone rogue and appeases the Chancellor by hiring John Wick to eliminate her. John arrives at Hallstatt, where he finds and defeats Eve, but spares her and implores her to abandon her pursuit. Eve pleads for her revenge, prompting a sympathetic John to give her until midnight to kill the Chancellor, after which he will complete his contract. Eve resumes fighting the cult across Hallstatt. John assists her from a distance, especially by sniping Dex. The Chancellor attempts to flee with Ella, but Eve corners them. The Chancellor attempts to reason with Eve, but she executes him and rescues Ella. Ella is reunited with a recovering Pine at the Prague Continental. Winston appears and has a brief conversation with Eve. Meanwhile, Eve seeks refuge at the New York Continental, having left the Rusca Roma. While attending a ballet performance, Eve learns of a $5 million bounty on her head and leaves the theater.